Good morning, dear students. Welcome to our subject, Disciplines and Ideas in the Applied Social Sciences, Quarter 4, Week 3. This is Rafi G. Aguilar, your teacher. Before we proceed, of course, today we have a new lesson. But before that, don't forget to visit our official website at gaitf.sims.school/lcms. I repeat, gaitf.sims.school/lcms. Log in your account there. Find our subject, which is DIASS, and click the Learning Path 4th Quarter and download the PDF files from modules week 1 to week 8. And of course, don't forget to answer the quizzes and the activities I have uploaded there. So, students, are you now ready? I guess everyone is now ready. But before we proceed, of course, don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel so that you will be updated for our latest videos on our subject. Shall we start now? Okay, then let's now start. What do you think is our lesson for this morning, class? Our lesson for this morning is all about clientele and audiences in communication. So do you have any idea about the clientele and audiences in communication? I guess you have an idea, so that let's begin. Before that, I have here our objectives for this morning. And here are the following objectives that may serve as our guide for today's discussion. First is to describe the clientele and audience of communication. And second one is to distinguish the needs of individuals, groups, organizations, and communities. So this will be our objectives for today's discussion. Now, class, shall we start now? Okay, then let's proceed. Characteristics of clientele and audiences of communication. From the very genesis of human existence, the need to communicate has been part of human beings. Our life with others and in the community requires us to interact with the people around us, to share ideas, thoughts, feelings, and experience with others, to make sense of the world, and to position ourselves in a wider social and cultural reality. In so doing, we listen and speak and receive and give information, which is a two-way process. Communication connotes communion, community, making common, or to share. The message transmitted is intentional and meant to convey meaning from a sender to a receiver through a medium or channel that includes struggle with interference and barriers. Communication is complex. We use symbols, words, pictures, facial expressions, and signs, voice, tone, graphics, silence, writing, painting, dressing, dancing, and body language. Formally and informally, every person communicates, and therefore, everybody is clientele and audience of communication. Because we ourselves construct is a social construct. We communicate with other people, we share information, we used to express our feelings in different ways. It could be verbal or non-verbal. It could be in a form of a fashion of like a dress. It's one way of expressing your feelings, your thoughts. Or it can also be the use of a body language based on your posture, and etc. As well as the sign language that everyone can able to interpret. So that's why formally and informally every person communicates, and therefore everybody is clientele and audience of communication. Me, you, everyone in this world are called as the clientele and audience of communication. However, to make communication effective and attainable, the specific or intended clientele and audience in an instance of communication need to be clearly understood so that the message, packaging, forms, and medium can be properly customized. Effective communication assumes the audience's perspective and ensures that the message is relevant to them. This means that the method of communication is carefully selected as most effective for the target audience. All people are clientele and audience in communication. However, communication can only be effective when communicators take into consideration the characteristics of the intended clientele and audience. Characteristics like social position, educational level, age range, race and ethnicity, primary language, health status, job type, and information sources are worth considering. So there are lots of factors to be considered. So like social position, educational level, age range, race and ethnicity, primary language, health status, job type, and information source are need to be considered. First is the social position. So what is social position? Social position is the status that a person enjoys in a communication context. One may be a president or a leader, middle manager, a colleague or co-equal, or a subordinate in an organization of community. These social positions dictate how one gets communicated to and how the communication has to be crafted, packaged, contained, and delivered. Next, we have the educational level. So what is this educational level? Educational level may suggest the reading skills and healthy literacy and the ability to engage with more complex topics, new and even unfamiliar. An audience that has limited literacy skills may find it difficult to use written materials. With such audience, oral presentations may be more effective. Age range. Age range can be affect choice of communication format or distribution. The communication materials may be relevant to people of all ages, but the age of the audience may affect the communication format or distribution channels. Social media websites and mobile texting, for example, may be more appropriate for providing information to younger audience, while printed materials, emails, phone calls, meetings, and memos may be more effective for older audience. Next, we have the race and ethnicity. Race and ethnicity is an important consideration in communication, particularly in deciding on graphics and photos. It is important to design the graphics and photos in a communication materials to reflect the demographics of the intended audience. Primary language. Primary language has to be considered if the message is to be effective. If the language used is different from the one used by the target audience, there is a need to translate the communication materials into primary language. Next is the health status. Health status matters a lot as it dictates people's disposition to listening and responding and the ability to make meaning out of the communicated material. Although people with certain health conditions tend to be more informed healthcare consumers with a greater awareness of issues within the healthcare system, it is important that the materials are more personal and relevant to specific health conditions or issues. Next is the job type. Job type of the audience can affect the format of materials and the distribution methods to be used. For an audience without access to their own computers, disseminating the materials through an internet site or email messages may not be effective. Next is the information sources. Information sources matter for they affect the format and distribution of communication materials and also the medium they trust. And I think that's the last one. Okay, so thank you students for having your time with me. I hope that you learned something today. And before that, of course, don't forget to visit our official website at gaitf.sims.school/lcms. I repeat, gaitf.sims.school/lcms. And don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel so that you will be updated from our latest videos happening to our YouTube channel. And of course, for our subject, which is disciplines and ideas in the applied social sciences. That would be all, students. Thank you and God bless everyone. Stay safe. Bye.